Hey guys, to see how I created this look using simply hair extensions, keep watching. So today I'm with the gorgeous Vanessa Bauer from Dancing on Ice, and I'm going to be creating a lovely textured festival style. So we're going to be creating a lovely side braid here, and I'm going to be adding some hair rings, and then this side is going to be lovely and beachy and wavy. So the way that I've placed the hair extensions, I'm going to be creating it more on the side. So I've got one extension at the back, at the nape, and then one just sitting above, and then I'm going to put a couple literally just through the crown, but bringing it around to the side, just so you don't see any hair weft here. I will be putting a couple of single tracks here just to thicken up the braid, which I'll show you how to do. So I'm just going to literally place a couple of single pieces just through the front. Just take your section and lightly back comb the root. This will just give a little nest for the clip to sit in, and that just prevents any slip. And then I'm just going to stagger one more closer to the parting, but leaving about 2 inches just so you don't see the track. Each kind of front section clip, just to thicken up the around the hairline and around the face, is about an inch, inch and a half. Just lightly back comb the root, and then that just literally gives it some length just around the face. And then the last section will just sit over the top just to hide any weft. So what I usually do with fresh extensions is before I style it, I use like a mousse, or there's a really amazing product by L'Oreal called Pli. This just literally takes out that shiny kind of smoothness to the extensions, just makes it a little bit more gritty to work with, especially if you're using or creating, you know, like beachy waves or curls or anything. It just gives it a little bit of something to work with. Dry that in. Right guys, I'm going to show you how to obviously create the beach waves. So the best thing about it is not really being too precise with your sections, just literally taking a bit and obviously curling it different directions. So what I do is I literally place the iron in kind of upside down, place it in probably about 3 inches away from the root, twist it and pull, so kind of direct it towards the shoulder, away from the face. And then what I do is I literally leave the ends out, because that creates a more natural kind of beachy look, like that. So you want it to look, you know, not too curly, so just really soft. And then I take another section and do it the other way, so you're just alternating different directions. So it's kind of looking like this, so you've got a straighter end. The pieces around the face I always direct away. So pop the flat iron in, twist away from the face and pull down towards the shoulder. It's okay if you get a little bit of curl towards the root, because that will give you the width. And obviously we're going to be combing it out afterwards. You can also add a little bit of spray, only a light spray, as you're working through the hair. So I usually work in diagonal sections. You don't have to be so precise, just start to tongue. So as you could see, once I tongued the hair, I blasted it out with cool air. This just gives it a more natural kind of beachy effect. And what I've also used is like a texture spray. And I might use a little bit of powder just to finish off at the end once I've done the braid. But until I've done the braid, I just want to be able to see how it's looking. And so I'm just going to let this side settle for a minute. So now I'm going to crack on with the braid. Just going to pin the rest of the hair out the way. These clips are amazing for really thick hair, which is the Simply Hair clip. So obviously where the hair extensions are sitting here, obviously I want the same thickness through the top section. So I'm going to use single wefts again, about an inch wide. And I think I'm just going to go for one. So literally put it in on a diagonal, just above the ear, section the front piece of hair out the way, and then just make sure that that's going to hide. So then literally just take your section and lightly back comb, and then you can begin the braid. So I'm going to be doing a Dutch braid, so the braid is going to sit on top of the hair. I'm just going to literally put a little bit of spray through. So if you really struggle with braiding, I always used to look at YouTube videos and tutorials. So if any of you kind of struggle with braid techniques, always look at YouTube, because there's some amazing tutorials which will help you. So always remember to keep your hands really close to the head. So this will literally just keep the tension as you're braiding. So I've literally just braided in the clip that I just placed, which you can't see at all. And I'm going to be pulling out the braid a little bit as well, just to give it more of like a textured feel, so it's actually good for the thickness to add more hair in. I'm going to leave a little bit of hair just at the end and then tie it again with a black elastic. So now I've done the braid, I'm just going to go through and pull it out a little bit just to make it a bit more textured. So all you're doing is just literally grabbing the sides of the braid and just pulling it out, just to make it a little bit more festivally. So you're just grabbing the hair and just pulling that braid out. Nice and textured. And then we're going to add some rings, which will be super fun. So this is where you can get really creative. I'm going to be using some rings, a mixture of Regal Rose, which are an amazing hair jewellery company. So these are from Regal Rose, and I did actually cut up an old necklace. So if you've got any kind of old jewellery, you can actually create lovely little hair hoops like this. So all you do is you just loop in the hair and just pinch it shut. So I've gone for a bit of a mixture, so I'm using gold and silver today to make it super cool. I'm literally just placing them in, like, you know, there doesn't have to be a set way, it's kind of personal preference really, whatever you feel like. So I'm just kind of filling in the gaps. So again, I'm just going in with the Colour Wow. The Colour Wow is a powder, it's a hair powder, so it fills in hairlines and any fine areas. So for hair ups, for braids, you know, ponytails, it's just really good for filling in the hairline, just making it a little bit, you know, a little bit more dense. So now I'm just literally finishing off, like doing the finishing touches. So now the braid's in, I can obviously see, you know, where I want to kind of just maybe tongue a little bit more or just pull a little bit more out. So sometimes I just like to go through the waves with my fingers. So you're using your fingers as a comb, pulling through those curls and just making it super beachy, and even just getting the wave, and I call it like scrunching it. So it just breaks up that wave. And you can use a little bit of hair powder. I wouldn't use too much because it's quite a strong product. And always kind of, as you sprinkle it onto the hair, sprinkle it from a distance, just because it's quite a light colour. So on dark hair it can pick up. So I would always use it at like a safe distance and just kind of pat it in. So it's basically like a back combing product without the back combing, which is pretty awesome. But it's very strong, so you don't need a lot of it. A lot of people, you know, that I work with don't actually like the product, but I think when you've got kind of silky hair, it just kind of gives it a bit of a matte finish. So it's like a little bit more easy to work with. So So if there's any kind of like fishtaily ends, I'll just literally go through again with the flat iron and just retong. So obviously with the top section, obviously this is the most important because this is obviously how it's going to sit away from the face. So just literally finishing off with a little bit of spray. As you can see, this is a really cool style for a festival. Thanks so much for watching how we created this look.